Let's get sound check. Sound check.
Evening, everyone.
Testing. Hello. Confirm with the audience that my voice is rich.
The voice sounds very rich.
I should not have said that your new mic made your voice sound rich, should I?
Rich
No.
and chocolatey.
Yeah. Velvety smooth.
Okay, dramatic pause. Welcome, everybody, to CanHammer Podcast, episode 202. We are going to talk tonight about various topics, and so Thurgood gave us the sound check, and he says it's so rich.
Excellent.
So everybody, Nick got a new microphone, and I don't know what it is, but apparently it's made him sound like, I don't know, the James Earl Jones of podcasting.
Perfect. Rich and velvety. I like it.
You definitely have a voice for podcasting. Who do you think?
What?
You know, like, do you think like a voice for podcasting is different from like a voice for radio, or do you think it's the same?
It's the
I don't know.
same.
I know I have a face for podcasting.
Me too.
Yeah.
You know, one of the weird things with this COVID year is that I listen to myself in recordings so much because I'm recording my lectures that now my own voice does not annoy me anymore. When I hear myself on recordings, I think I sound fine.
Yeah, I got over that a while ago, but yeah, it's definitely like a weird thing. It's like, or like I'm getting used to talking with the headphones on both ears. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but I used to have one ear off because I couldn't take that kind of internal plugginess because I can't hear it through at my actual headphones, like my own voice. But then it was like, oh, okay, I got used to that. And it kind of keeps the riffraff noise out. All right, so welcome everybody. We're here again. I'm Darren and my usual co-hosts Nick and Francois. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
You guys
Yeah, pretty
holding
good.
up? Think we're gonna hit the third wave here, or what do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I try not to make predictions anymore, but today was a nice day. I went for a short jog for the first time in like a year, so I'm feeling good.
Oh, really? Okay, so getting you on a
Yeah.
bike won't be such a huge stretch.
I went biking with you last year. I complained the whole time, but I was there.
Okay, yeah, it's been pretty nice in terms of daytime temperatures, but at night it's still cold. And when I wake up in the morning, it's still pretty cold. But I think this weekend's going to be pretty nice. So there's still a bit too much snow on all the paths and stuff for cycling, but definitely the roads are clean. And so it's nice to get outside again after a pretty much like enforced hibernation, like all winter, basically. That's basically what it was. It's an enforced hibernation. So, tonight we'll be talking about various topics. We'll go straight on to the first topic, which is hobby update. Now, we did spend like a whole hour and a half talking about hobby last time. So, do you guys have any hobby updates? What have you been up to?
I
just-
mean, oh, go ahead, Francois.
Just kept plugging away at my Dark Angels. I now have the full 2,000 points ready for tomorrow's game, Darren.
Yes.
And it's not fully done. Like the banners on the back of Azrael and Ezekiel's aren't done, but it's up to a tabletop standard anyway.
Yeah. That's cool. I am looking forward to seeing it tomorrow. And how about you, Nick? What you been up to?
You started that army last week, Francois?
Yeah.
It feels like it.
After the hobby episode.
Yeah. After the hobby episode, he got started on. It's been actually a little slower for me. I'm still working on the Death Guard. I've got a couple Death Shroud and characters I've been working on. Started a new job, so that's kind of eaten into my hobby time. But yeah, no, just slowly picking away at the Death Guard models I want to try to bolster my force with.
Your painting of them is like their army tactic, slowly and inexorable.
Yeah, and gross
Cannot be slowed.
and dirty. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I actually finally finished assembling and magnetizing all my Deathwing, which took quite some time because those tiny little magnets are quite fiddly. And to make sure you get them in the right way and you don't super glue 2 magnets or 3 magnets together. And so actually it came together well and they look good. And Then I sprayed them all black, which took a long time, actually. It took like 2 hours to spray everything black. And just started, as you guys know, working on my black armor because I'm painting the Knights, like Horus Heresy color, so mostly black with red and silver trim. And painting black is tricky.
Yeah.
If you want to do it like special, sure, you could just spray black and then edge highlight it, and it looks kind of like a little bit like GW style. But if you want to do it like a little bit special with like some nicely placed highlights and make it look like black metal, that does take some work, that's for sure.
My Ulthway army is literally black primer with gray highlights, but
yeah. So I think, only the Deathwing Knights is going to be black, but all the Ravenwing is going to be black, and I can't do this process for all of that. I'm going to have to come up with something a little bit more expedited for the Ravenwing. Yeah, and this is the second time I'm painting Ravenwing, and I definitely cannot bear to spend more time painting Ravenwing than I did last time, which was already too much. So anyway, that continues. I will be on. So you guys know Scarcast. He does this every day. He does this hobby show. This is where me and Nick were chatting this morning.
Yeah. We took over his chat. Yeah,
his hobby stream, and him and this girl, I don't know her name. I've never met her before. And then they get a guest person to come on, and it's mostly just chatting, but they're kind of painting at the same time. So he invited me, and I'm going to be on sometime in April. Which will be fun, and haven't spoken to Scary in a while. And I'm saving my Uncle Number 4 bust for that hobby stream.
Nice.
So that.
So wait, you're gonna go on Scary's hobby stream, but not paint a GW miniature? That's.
I don't know.
Ultimate flex.
He thought it was a great idea. I didn't know if it was a stipulation that I had to paint GW.
He's gonna bust out his Chimera paints, his posh 1 out of 3 Nepalese bust that he had to climb, Mount Everest to
That's
get,
right.
all that stuff.
1 out of 4. 1 out of 4. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's another one. Wow, they're just like printing those, aren't they?
Yep. All right, cool. So let's talk about CCBB for a minute. So we had decided, let's just say, that April may be the soft deadline to decide if we're going to run CCBB. And because we need time to plan such a big event, there's always the possibility in July we're like, it looks okay, let's just run like a little GT or something. We can always do that. That's no big deal. We can run that at a store. That doesn't require much planning. But CCBB requires months of planning, not least of which is putting down deposits and money and booking big halls and stuff. So we kind of have to decide pretty soon. Now, the WTC is waiting till April. So we decided that might be a similar, decent time to wait. I don't think it's going to happen, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I don't think we can afford to commit the resources without more certainty than we have right now. Our vaccination is picking up, but it's still pretty shit. Our COVID rates are climbing ever so slowly. If we hit a third wave, for sure, it's not happening. So it's like, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm an optimist. I've been looking at the vaccination numbers. The Ontario government, the Quebec government, the Canadian government, they tell us we'll all have our first dose by June, end of June. So, I'm thinking it's going to be fine by August, but I'm also not the one having to run months worth of planning and having to put down a deposit. So it's easy for me to say that.
Yeah, people have to remember that when you're running these types of events, especially these kind of GT majors but aren't part of these larger conventions, it's usually one or two or few people that are making large financial commitments to run these, and it'll be them, unfortunately, that ends up soaking up a lot of that if things get canceled and they can't recoup deposits and whatnot. And you can't rely on the community to be charitable and being like, oh, you know what, keep my registration because I know it's hard. And 90% of the people just pull or ask for refunds. Then, the poor organizers are going to be the one that's stuck with that. And for what, that would be the reward for trying to do something nice for the community. So, anyways, I can understand that hesitation people would be in running GTs. It's not only the uncertainty in the months of planning that might go to waste, but there's some real financial commitments that happen at these things. You know, when you're talking about booking venues and food and all that stuff.
Especially since it's not like even in a normal year, you don't actually turn a profit really on these. Like the money you put in gets taken back out. So
exactly,
it's
you're not making money. You're just doing this because you enjoy doing it, and everybody enjoys doing it. So it's not like you're making money, and like last year will cover the losses of this year. No, not at all.
No. I mean, you definitely you're not planning it to make money, and you definitely don't make money. The interesting thing though is that probably there will be large events by August, definitely in the States. I mean, we're already seeing them, but for sure their vaccination rates are way ahead of us, obviously, but we're going to see large events. So it's kind of like, it's like it would be nice if we had our big event, you know? And then, you know, thinking further out for CanHammer team, sort of next spring, then hopefully, you know, that would definitely be a go. And then there's like, well, you kind of lose, and Adeptcon interestingly mentioned this in their post today. They made a post about how they haven't run it now 2 years in a row, and that you lose momentum. You lose the organizational momentum that you gain from running things repeatedly, and the fluidity and the contacts sometimes and sponsorships. And so actually not having run CCBB again, this would be the second year, then people start to get out of that mood. They're like, I don't really want to run it anymore. You know, it's like, then you're like, no, nobody's going to run it, right? So you just wonder what the future of the event is if it doesn't get run, right, for a couple of years, whatever the reason. And so Adeptcon has committed to coming back next year. Nova canceled just this week or last week as well for similar reasons, right? They have to commit right up front, and they can't do it right now. So, you know, that's some big summer events going down. I think ATC is planning to run. I don't know.
I thought they'd canceled, but I could be wrong.
Maybe they did cancel. And, you know, WTC, even if it does run, is not going to be the same event. A lot of countries will not go. I know the States aren't sending a team. So it's like, yeah, so then it just becomes just another small event. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting summer. Stay tuned. We'll let people know, obviously. And even if we don't run CCBB, if it's looking good, maybe me and Dan and some of the guys will try and cobble together like a GT or, 60, 70 person major event, and not have all the multiple events and all that kind of stuff. Just make it a bit easier to do.
Well, and around here, we actually have the player base semi-locally that if you were to say in 2 weeks we're having a GT, you would get 80 people registering, like snapping your finger.
I think so.
I mean, even at this point, everybody's so hungry for it. I'm sure most of the guys from Toronto would come too, just because, everybody wants to play. So, but yeah, so, I mean, we'll just, hold out and hope. And, like you guys said, if you can't run CCBB as had been classically run, it doesn't mean that sometime late summer, early fall, something can't be put together to make a smaller GT without all the bells and whistles that CCBB normally has. But, it gets you by until 2022.
Yeah.
You can call it CCBB Light.
Yeah. Well, we'll kind of have to do something like Charity Hammer did this year, right? Like do something, but it won't be as big. But okay. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way, to people watching who are of Irish descent, or I guess Christians can celebrate it as well. Either of you guys Irish?
I
Francois
do have a
Lalonde,
great grandmother Laura Packwood, but yes, very distantly.
I'm definitely not Irish, although Angie has cousins who are actually hardcore Irish, and that's an interesting combination, a Chinese guy with a strong Irish accent. But and Nick, your name would be British in origin, but maybe you have some Irish blood. I don't know.
Yeah, so my name is British, but also there's a couple of towns in Scotland that the name is
ancestors burned and pillaged.
Probably. Hopefully. If they're my ancestors, hopefully they burned and pillaged. Yeah, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm a mutt. My tree comes from just about everywhere, so I'm sure there's some Irish in there, but I suppose it's mainly kind of Scot, maybe British. I don't know.
All right, let's move on to some releases coming up. We had a little bit of a 2-3 week dry spell, but now we got some new stuff coming out. We got this box set, which is Drukari and Sisters, I think.
Piety and Pain.
Yeah, Drukari, sure, but the Sisters really need another box set. I don't know.
Well, they needed a lieutenant.
Just clamshell that shit then, okay? It's like, okay, fine, another box set. And Drukari are getting their codex, which is cool. I have a Drukari army people have seen on stream before, and it's going to be interesting to see if that brings them into the limelight. And so that would be cool. They did started leaking some of the kind of detachments, and so they're trying to keep that flavor to allow you to play like Witch Cult, Prophets of Flesh, and like whatever the side is, Kabalite stuff, like all together without having to pay like 2, 6, like 8 CP just to run these different detachments. It's a little bit confusing, I gotta say. I need the book and kind of sit down and work it out. And certainly that Real Space Raiders rule section is like a total like too long didn't read. It's like super complicated.
I gave up halfway.
Yeah,
I wasn't entirely sure what was going on there.
Yeah, it's just like TLDR. That's like way too long. I don't understand that. Then they've got Warzone Charadon Act 1 Book of Rust. So this sounds like Vigilus all over. And I was debating today with myself whether I need to buy this book or not. It's not clear. And it's almost like they purposefully made it not clear whether these codex supplements are like the marine supplements. Like, are these official codex supplements that we need to buy? And
I mean,
what do you guys think?
I'll buy it because I suffer from Stockholm syndrome with GW apparently. But I hate this with a passion of 1,000 suns.
The passion.
Wow, 1,000 suns.
Wow, that's some sacrilegious
talk. I hate
talk.
this.
Yeah.
It's incredibly lame to me that they're releasing like 4 pages of rules for the Death Guard Codex that just came out, 4 pages of rules for the Drukari Codex that's coming out at the exact same time, 4 pages of rules for the Admech Codex, which we think is the next one, and then Knights, fine. Okay, give me Knights rules. That's okay. But why?
I think it's because their release schedule got fucked up, so they're just hashing it out.
That's not an excuse.
Well, I don't know.
Hold on to the book. Wait like 6 months.
It seems like that's what's happening, though.
It costs money to stockpile stuff. There's only so... No, but it's true. But there's only so much space in warehouses, right?
I understand. Have you looked at the GW stock recently? They're not hurting. I think so. I think I'll go further. I think this decision is bad for them business-wise, because now obviously I'm projecting my own reaction onto the rest of the player base, and I'm probably wrong. I'm sure people will lap it up, but I don't want to go back to the days of rules bloat and formations and the battle days of late 7th edition. Like this is what this screams to me.
We're there. I mean, this is Vigilus all over, right? This is literally
Vigilus. But at least Vigilus, they said this is not meant for GT play, and hopefully there's a caveat there.
They said it now, but when Vigilus came out, it was.
Yeah, people were using.
And it sucked then too.
I mean, that's how Siegler, I think, beat Naden at LVO, was using Vigilus.
So GW pretends they're a model company first and a rules company second. This goes against that. This is clearly just, I want to sell books.
I don't think that's true anymore. Not since 8th. Yeah.
I don't know. Look, my preference, is to have one book with my one army. I'm going to say that. But then again, maybe, same thing, Stockholm Syndrome. I've been playing Chaos for so long that I've always had to bring a library with me everywhere. The library Prospero. Every time I played, I had so many tombs to go through. But, look, it's not the end of the world. I feel like, at least from what was previewed, it didn't seem that outrageous.
It never does until it is.
Yeah. And you know what, though? Bottom line, I'm going to look at it and maybe I'll be annoyed, but I'll buy it and I'll probably still continue to play Warhammer.
I've already put in my order. It's coming.
Exactly. God damn it. And he's just like, I'm going to order this, but I don't like it.
Exactly. I'll pay for it, but I don't have to like it.
So the one thing they really are not clear is whether these armies of renown are meant to be for tournament play, or whether they will count as specialist detachments. They have not used those words, so I don't know. But yeah,
That's consistent with the confusion between like match and GT play and that
Because
like
there's
lingo.
matched play and matchier play, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's match play, which is from the actual rulebook, and then there's the GT play, which is, yeah, like you said, match play plus, because it's got different secondaries and whatever else. So maybe they're saying it's for match play, which is GW's like try to make, competitively equivalent armies, but it's not for GT play. We're like that's for the people that are really hitting tournaments and the best that they're trying to do to make everything somewhat on the same level. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, for narrative players, they're probably rejoicing, celebrating in the streets because it's cool. It's like stories about different characters. You get to play like fluffy armies and whatnot. But I can understand the irritation on competitive players. But we'll probably buy it and still play it. And it's a hobby of toy soldiers. I'm just gonna be happy about it anyway. Whatever.
yeah. Oh, well, we'll see. I have also instructed Dan to include me in one of those books, so I'm also sucked into that endless whirlpool.
See, I haven't bought it yet.
Well, also then you gotta think like everything freaking sells out these days, so like you gotta like get your order in like 2 weeks before it comes out. Like otherwise, who knows? Like it's gonna be gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I came real close to buying a couple of those Drukhari patrol boxes because they look really good. But then I took a look at my pile of shame and I came to my senses.
All right, cool. Okay, well, let's move on and talk about the Ontario 40K League. And it's a timely segue because on the Twitch, the chat is exploding with a bunch of people from the 40K League executive who've come to make sure that we don't talk shit about them. We don't talk shit about the 40K League.
I don't know who they are, but I'm talking shit.
I don't know who they are. Most of them are here under synonyms and pseudonyms.
Yeah, exactly. Acronyms and all those names.
I think the commish is in the chat, so, be careful what you say. But
what a nerd.
So in case people are here that never heard of this before, basically in Ontario, we have a number of 40K scenes based loosely around geographical cities. So we have kind of Ottawa area, which includes kind of down to Cornwall where Chris lives, all the way to across into Quebec. Actually, a lot of Quebec and Montreal guys come to our events here. So, and then we go up as far as, but not quite as close to where Nick lives because we kind of, shut that border down. But we allow Nick in sometimes, and all the way up to Pembroke and Petawawa. So we cover a big geographic area. And then, of course, there's Toronto. Toronto covers half the distance across Canada. And then there's west of Toronto, Kitchener, Waterloo, all those sort of guys. They have their own kind of thing. Then you're going up towards like Barrie, then further north, way up north, like Sudbury. And for some reason, Kingston and in between Toronto and Ottawa just doesn't really exist very much. But you got people like Jason hanging out in that area, kind of migrates to and back and forth. So basically, we, and people have been, some of these guys have been running their own leagues, and so there was an idea of the Toronto guys to run a big Ontario league, and obviously being pretty Toronto centric because that's Toronto, but we kind of force our way in as an Ottawa division. So there we go. So then we decided to run a big league and to have this grand idea of having the winners from each league play each other in an invitational tournament. Supposedly it was going to be hosted at CCBB at the end of the league to figure out who's like the league champion, which would be kind of cool idea. And so the idea came that we would just run the league as like basically a 5-round GT that's spread out. Each round is like 3 weeks. So you have 3 weeks to play your league game. And that's basically what the league is. It's basically just a GT in each area spread out over a many number of weeks, and just an opportunity to get people back playing again because a lot of people have not been playing. Get people, old people playing again, get new players in, just try and start that 40K juices flowing again. And that was basically the whole premise of the league, which is a great idea. So I'm the commissioner, God help me, for the Ottawa division. It's always me volunteering for stuff like this. And then each division has a commissioner, and so we're on this little executive council, we like to call ourselves. And yeah. Okay, so basically the league is aiming to start play the first week of August. And
April.
Sorry.
April.
Yeah, I got August on the brain. April, which is in like 2 weeks and 2 or 3 weeks. And basically we have a week or so to see what happens with COVID to decide go ahead or not. And so obviously people are in different situations with how comfortable they are playing either in their own home with somebody else or in someone else's home or in a store. I know Dan is not hosting games yet, and so it may be difficult for some people to play if they don't have a store to play at. And that may be different across the different divisions. So different divisions are allowing people to do their games on TTS. I've decided I don't want to run a TTS tournament. People can do that themselves. So we're not really doing TTS in Ottawa. And so anyway, COVID making the situation difficult, as one would expect. And so we're planning to go ahead, but we're going to see. And we decided as a division we're going to decide at the end of next week, see what the COVID situation is doing.
I have a question actually about that. I meant to talk to you about this. So there are 3-week rounds, but if we decide to push back the start because of COVID, we could make them 2-week rounds and just start later, couldn't we?
We can basically do whatever we want. I mean,
Okay.
we don't all have to start at the same time. We don't all have to end at the same time. It doesn't really matter in the end. We don't even have to play this round. We could just pick up the next round, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, people are making a big deal about it, but it really doesn't really matter. And
It's all fake anyway.
yeah, and it's just 40K, and it's like, okay, like it's not
Just
like
40K?
It's not life and death, guys. Let's get some perspective. But it'd be nice to play, but the situation is what it is. So, but let's stay positive. Let's hope that we can begin in a couple of weeks, and let's talk a little bit about our division. So initially, when we had come up with this idea, I had about 32 to 33 people kind of initially joined the Discord anyway, excited to do this. And that was when we were aiming to start in like February. Obviously, that didn't happen. And so we, at the moment, actively signed up, we have 17 people, which is pretty good. And it is all the usual people. So you guys. I'm probably going to, unless we need a person because of odd numbers, I probably won't play. But we've got the usual guys: Carl, Charlie, Dominic, Alex, Will Paul, Jeremy, of course, and you guys: Ian, Jay Limer, and Peter Piccioni. Rickard, Zach, all the usual people that would come to every RTT that we usually hold. And so we were going to talk tonight about what we were thinking of playing and what we think other people will play. So let's, Francois, since you have the most completely painted armies, what are you going to play? You've been debating it too.
Yeah, I'm torn a little bit, but I think I'm like 90% sure at this point that I will bring out my Harlequins because Harlequins are one of my 4 COVID armies. I've been painting a lot in the last year, and this Harlequin army is one that I haven't played with yet. And because of the nature of Harlequins, yes, they're a really powerful faction. They're really strong, and that is part of the reason why I'm playing them. Let's not, mince words there. But they're also a very different style of army than what I usually play. They're a little bit more movement-based than what I usually play. So I think they'll take me out of my comfort zone, probably make me a better Warhammer player. And also they're well-suited to a league like that because you're playing your games one at a time rather than 3 or 4 games in a day. And I think if I tried to show up to a GT with my newly painted, I've never played with them Harlequins, my brain would just melt immediately. I couldn't deal with that. But it feels like the perfect opportunity to learn a new army. Mm-hmm. And so that's my thinking on this.
Well, you've never played them before. You haven't even
Not
had
a
chance to play against me. Maybe next week we'll do that.
Yeah, maybe next week. Yeah.
So that would be interesting. And as you say, it is a chance to play a new army. So Harlequins, eh? Okay. I don't like Harlequins because they tend to do pretty well against Custodes. But that would definitely be a neat army to see. And I know you've painted them basically in 3 days. So
3 weeks, but yes, pretty quickly.
Are you thinking mono Harlequins or like
Monoquins, yeah, just
yeah
full on 2,000 points of Harlequins.
yeah
I'm
cool.
gonna start with like 15 bikes and frozen stars probably, just because that's the easiest build. You just throw your bikes and drown people in attacks. But I do want to paint like another 30 infantry and try some of the other mask forms as well.
Ever thought about like the Incarn in there as well?
Eventually, but I want to start with pure Harlequins just to
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
get a handle on them. I do have a very large Craft World army that I haven't played in a long time, but it's there on the shelf, and so eventually I'll start mixing in the other Eldari factions. But I want to start with pure Harlequins.
Yeah, sick.
cool. Well, I'm glad because I gave you basically all the Harlequins that I had, so
Yeah.
you'll see some of my old models on the table. So okay, Nick, what are you gonna bring?
Well, it's breaking my heart a little bit. But I think I've decided. I think well, we've chatted about this at length. I've bothered you guys nonstop. But I think it's going to be Necrons.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. A bit of a departure. So, well, basically, COVID story, painted a ton of armies, blah, blah, blah. And Necron book dropped, and I thought, well, nobody's playing any games, so I'm going to buy all the Necrons and paint them up and, try it because, whatever, it's something different. And so I have the Necrons painted up, and I want to play Death Guard, but I'm not going to have enough time to paint everything that I need for Death Guard. And since since I want to play with a painted army and whatnot, because I think we're doing the paint points.
We are doing.
Well,
10
either way,
points, yeah.
even if we weren't, I wouldn't feel right like showing up with, non-painted stuff. But yeah, anyways, I won't have time to get all the Death Guard painted up. And Necrons is kind of the army that I'm most practiced with recently, and they're like not a half bad army. They can still, pull punches. And like you said, in this kind of format, not only are you playing like your games, like are they spaced out 3 weeks, but if I understand correctly, you can change your list in between games.
Yep.
Is that before or after your next opponent?
Before.
Okay. Well, anyways, it still gives you the opportunity to like if something didn't work out that last game to switch it and like adjust. So that's kind of neat.
If it was after, it'd be so broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to listen before, but like you can probably narrow down who you're gonna play, probably just based on the pairings.
If you can do basic math, you can figure it out.
But like we don't want people to have to play the same list for, like if you're a Drukari and then your book comes out and you can't change your list, like that's kind of shit. So that's the decision we made. You can change, and sure, there may be some list lists customized, but whatever. So yeah. Okay, so Necrons, eh? Are we going to see the Silent King?
No, I am not a Silent King player.
Are we going to see Triple Satan?
No, I'm not on that bandwagon. I know Devin is a huge fan and undefeated, whatever else. And look, it's
strong.
It could be the best build. I mean, a lot of it's on TTS. A lot of what they've seen for the Triple Satan build is on TTS and WTC terrain tables. So that could skew a little bit in the favor of that type of Satan build. And like, I'm not saying that it's not strong. I'm just saying these are things you have to consider when you look at that. And I know from our meta on the tables that we play on, they tend to be a little bit more open. So I'm looking at a little bit more firepower. I'm still bringing the Nightbringer though. But I'm also a big fan of like having a 20 warrior blob that can veil and stuff like that and ghost arcs. So that's something I'm considering. Another close second was my typical Tzeentch, Lord of Change and Thousand Suns.
Nah.
But I think I can't get over.
Dang.
Yeah, well, I love them, but I can't get over playing 1 wound Marines against 2 wound Marines.
Yeah,
just like I have. Well, that's it. And I have like Grey Knights as well. And I know there's diehard Grey Knight players out there doing the best they can with it. But I hate to bring like you've got a strike squad and you're like, I got 1 wound and people are showing up with tactical Marines like, whatever.
Well,
I got 2.
It's like me bringing, 90-point Terminators against people playing 40-point Terminators, It's like same thing.
Aren't Custodes like top 3 or 4 right now in terms of
top 3 or 4
percentage?
what? Top 3 or 4 like in the some people that are playing. Yeah.
And they're winning with Custodes. But anyway. But But yeah, so it's going to be Necrons, and my Chaos Roots will have to wait until the next league or tournament, and then I'll bring out the Death Guard.
Cool. Well, I mean, I guess people have already guessed. If I'm going to play, I'm going to play Custodes. I'm kind of obligated.
Shocker.
Because it gives me content to talk about. If nothing
Tactica
else.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Show up.
I
Tomorrow,
actually really
Tactica.
wanted to play Dark Angels, but it's just not going to be done. There's that. And then I don't want to play Guard. I guess I could play Drukhari and look for the new Codex, but I'm a really big fan of playing Drukhari. So I really don't have any other armies to play.
Just embrace your golden boy and identity and play the Custodes.
Yeah, so I'll play Custodes. What's interesting though is because we can change lists, I can actually use it as an opportunity to play different kinds of lists because I've had so many things I want to try, but no opportunity to try it. So we'll see. Tomorrow I'm playing Francois with a totally kind of different kind of list that I've never played before, so I'm excited to see how that goes.
It's a really interesting list. I like it.
Yeah, I saw it too, and I was like, "What? There's no Laris in there?"
No, this kind of list has been doing really well in certain people's hands out of the collective, and so I'm like, okay, well, let's try it.
Why did I just watch the last 50 Tacticas?
What are you talking about? All the Tacticas are building up to this list.
To this one moment.
Moment. So obviously that's what I'm going to do. So let's see if we can predict what people are going to bring. Alex,
This is good.
Alex has already put Chaos down, so that's fine. Carl,
Are we talking? Is that like a Chaos soup?
I don't know. It just says Chaos. That's basically exactly what it is. It's Chaos. It's Chaos always is just Chaos. So maybe
That's
new Bellicor. We don't know when is new Bellicor coming out.
Later this year, they said.
Okay.
I've already got them on pre-order.
So what do you guys think of new Bellicor model? Since we're on that,
I love them. I found my old Bellicor model and tossed them in the garbage already.
Well, the
I'm just
old
waiting.
Bellicor model was pretty shit.
Yeah, I'm dropping everything, painting new Bellicor and playing new Bellicor. I
The
love
new one
Bellicor.
looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. How big do you think it is? Like, not Lord of Change big.
Yeah, I think he's
think he's that big?
Bloodthirster big.
Yeah, he looks pretty big. Like it's hard to tell from pictures, but he looks big.
You sure as hell not Demon Prince size, I'll tell you
Because
that.
there's a Marine on his base, and if you just take the size of the Marine on his base and compare it to his wingspan, it's huge.
Yeah. No, he does look pretty big.
One thing I want to do is get that same Marine bit like 7 or 8 times and paint them different chapters. So that
And magnetize it every
and
time.
magnetize it. So if I come up against a White Scars player, I just put the White Scar guy on there. If I come up against an Ultra Read player, put the little Ultra Read on there.
Well, that would be $1,000 well spent.
Or give it to give the bit to Francois. Maybe we can like scan it and like print it or something.
Yeah. Or I'm gonna hit up the like Chaos Collective out there. I mean, I was gonna say I'll call Jim and tell him to send me his Marine, but he won't. I know that he'll paint Bellicor up to the 9s too. But anyway.
All right, Charlie Cochran has put Tyranids down. I can't remember if Charlie played Tyranids in the past because probably a lot of Tyranid stuff coming out these days.
Charlie is a good friend of mine, and he's had Tyranid armies multiple times. He, in fact, has sold me part of a Tyranid army before, and then rebought a Tyranid army.
Sounds like Charlie, yeah. Okay, well that's cool because we've been hearing a lot about Nids and Dimashirons and all sorts of Nid goodness, so that'd be cool.
Do you guys have the lowdown on that? Do you know if he's bringing Dimacrons or whatever?
Well, I know he owns 3. I don't know if he's going to bring them, but probably.
Probably going to bring.
I'd put money on that.
You guys heard it here first. Charlie is bringing Dimacrons. Prep for that.
All right, David Lambert is bringing Necrons. I don't know what kind of Necrons. Dominic is almost certainly bringing Marines of some sort.
Of a flavor. Last time I played him, he played Salamanders.
Yeah.
It was a close enough game, but I imagine he's off the Salamanders.
Yeah. Dark Angels.
I've had a rumor that he's painting up Space Wolves, so I don't know.
So that is not true. So his custom chapter has Space Wolf influences, so you'll find Space Wolf heads and bits on them, but he has a custom chapter with like Tyranid bits all over. Dilla Gorgeous. I actually asked him what he was thinking of playing, and he doesn't know yet. He's still bouncing between a few choices.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to tell you.
But you skipped my boy Carl, who's going to bring Death Guard.
No, we mentioned Carl, but he's not put down on here what he's going to bring. But you think he's going to bring Death Guard?
Yeah.
Okay. Morty, you think?
I don't know. I know he has a very large Death Guard collection.
Mm,
And I know he's excited about the Codex, so I'm sure that's what he's bringing.
cool.
Okay.
So prep for Morty.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Ian, of course, bringing Chaos and Knights, as usual. Well, it just says Chaos, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some Knights in there. He loves his Chaos Knights. Jay doesn't say what he's bringing. I have no idea what Jay's been working on.
If I had to guess,
No
because
idea.
he'll periodically message me about chaos, and if I'm like just judging from the meta right now, where he likes, it's probably thinking Emperor's Children, maybe Decimators. He could be going the soul, but this is complete conjecture. But if I had to guess, it'd be something like the Soul Burner Decimators for chaos mixed with like the corn ones that can explode to hit, blah blah blah, like pump out like 20 mortal wounds each or something like that. That's
I think it's actually closer to 30. It's disgusting.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Thank God they're only 24 inches, but then they still move 8. So
That doesn't sound good for me at all.
well, bring long range guns and outrange him. I mean, that's why in my list I'm adding some Canoptic Doomstalkers, so I can at least interact with that.
Well, Decimators aren't that resilient, so if you can outrange them and kill them, then that neuters that list. But it's powerful.
I don't
It
have
is very
long range
powerful.
guns. That's my problem from the beginning. All right.
SpaghettiOs.
Jeremy bringing Dark Angels, obviously.
Jeremy is my tournament nemesis. I can't win against him. Him and actually Dom. Those are the only two.
Well, that's
that
because
have
they're
beaten me.
both better players than you.
Oh,
Yes,
shots fired.
this is true.
They're better players than me too. I mean, they're just really strong.
Yeah, they're really good. But Dark Angels, of course, he'd go Dark Angels. I'm sure he's doing the what do you call them? Deathwing Knights, Talon Masters. He loves Talon Masters, so I'm sure he's doing Talon Masters.
Yeah.
You know, that typical sit back, relax, 40-point secondaries, no problem, insta win.
So you say that, but actually, there was an article today on CanHammer looking at like tournament results, and a couple of Ravenwing lists did much better than the Deathwing blobs. The Ravenwing, because of the mobility, plays the mission in ninth really well.
Admittedly,
It could be that the actual power of the Dark Angel book is not in the Unkillable Terminators. It could be that it's in the Ravenwing.
no, I'll concede that that list seems to be like against 80% of opponents, there's almost nothing you can do, but there's probably like a 20% of the field that just kind of neuters that because they can overcome that little shtick that they got going on. So yeah, I'll
will
agree.
see. We'll see. That's what I'm trying to do tomorrow.
mhm.
I'm going to crush you.
Okay, the other Jeremy Taylor is bringing orcs, which would be I haven't seen an orc since the last time Chris played orcs.
Me neither.
Yeah, they just like disappeared from our local area since Chris basically was the only person playing it. But okay, Nick Blackburn, we don't know what he's bringing. Patrick Russo bringing Blood Angels.
30
I mean-
Sangard.
They're good. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if I know Patrick. I might, but the name doesn't ring a bell right now.
Well, if he's listening, bring 30 Sangard.
Pretty much.
Peter. Okay, Peter.
Pumpkin Eater.
So do you think Peter's bringing Necrons?
Well, it's either that
his
or
love.
Iron Warriors, because he has a super nice Iron Warriors army, really well painted with the hazard stripes and everything. Like it's actually a gorgeous army. And with going with what Nick was saying earlier, if he does that, it'll be with the soul burner petards and the decimators.
Yeah, a bunch of petards, bringing petards. But anyways, yeah, it's that. But he's
Just a
also been
rude
painting
word,
his.
petard.
Yeah, exactly. He's been doing like cyberpunk style Necrons, very bright Necrons. I don't know if he sold those or whatnot, but
Well,
with the sound.
he's had Necrons for years. It's just
No, I know, but it seems like he started painting like a whole new set of Necrons.
Really?
But
Yeah.
Didn't have
his
enough.
Silent King was like really neon, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
all the
It
colors.
looks really good.
I don't know. Playing against Peter with him not playing Necrons would just be weird.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You heard it here first, Peter. The commission has deemed that you have to play Necrons.
That's right.
So.
That's right. All right. Rickard is going to play Knights. He's our local hardcore Knights player. Oh, just plays Knights. I think he owns like 20 Knights or something.
Yeah, he couldn't be more excited about what are they called? Margaritas?
Margaritas.
Megaris.
Yeah, the Margarita Knights.
They're good. They're really good. I mean, knights are still not a great army even with those, but those are really really good knights.
Why are they better? Just 4-up invuln or something?
So they have like they have their weapons are really good. They're
damage 3 gun.
the damage 3 guns. They're Forge World Knights, and for once they're finally good. And his are gorgeous. Like he has these 3D printed dragon like carapaces that he puts on top of his knights.
Do they have 4-up invuln in combat?
I don't believe so. Not
So
though.
Telemons
You know
can
what?
still wreck them.
I'm actually a knight player, or I used to be, but now my my knowledge base is a little bit dated, so
Yeah,
I don't
know
want to.
anything about knights.
All I can tell you is Bertha and her soon-to-be sister are just going to be wrecking knights.
Yeah, it's where I brought Canoptic Doomstalkers, and I got the one-shot guy that does 3d3 damage. We'll see if that helps.
Maybe. All right, Will Paul, Space Wolves.
I
That
don't
one
believe
is-
that for a second.
That's a lie. He's gonna change
Yeah,
that.
he's lying. Don't listen to old Will.
He's
Paul.
uploaded a list.
Yeah, it's not real.
It's a decoy list. He's grandfather Nurgle. Don't listen to him. He's probably bringing Mortarion or something like that. He's always got something cooked up.
Do we know if he actually owns any Space Wolves? Like, I've never seen him play anything.
Will Paul
other than-
owns every army.
Yeah,
Okay.
Will Paul
For
probably
40k
owns
and
everything.
probably he owned every army for fantasy, and I'm sure he owns every army for 40k.
Yeah.
Space Wolves? That
Now,
seems out of
I
character.
have
I
seen
remember
him
once
play-
I asked him, "Can you bring demon princes? I need to use some demon princes." He brought a box of demon princes, and they would just pull them out of the box as he needed them. Like, yeah, so he's got them.
Like, I've seen him play Knights. I've seen him play Admech. I've seen him play Orcs. I've seen him play
At Barry, he
like,
brought
all
9
sorts of
Basilisk
chaos stuff. Yeah, he had
Yeah.
Guard. Like, he probably has everything. But I've never seen him play Marines. That is true. But he must have Marines.
I think at Adeptcon, as part of the team tournament, he played the whatever they did, Ultra Squats or whatever.
Oh, yeah, but that was an army just made for that event.
Yeah, I mean, but I have no idea what he plays. I would be shocked if it's Space Wolves, to be quite frank. I would imagine my guess would have been Death Card because that's the new book, and he likes chaos a lot. But hey,
Yeah. Okay. And Zach. Zach is going to bring 9 rotating, splash markers.
yeah, he's bringing
I'm gonna guess Imperial Guard because he really
Scions.
likes his Imperial
drop
Guard.
scions. He's bringing melted drop scions. Tell you that
Scions,
right.
tank commanders,
I don't know. If
I mean,
payload
the-
manticores.
the Guard Codex isn't in a fantastic place right now, but there's still play there. Like there's enough combos you can do with Guard, and I'm pretty sure Zach really wants to like prove that you can still do good with Guard. So
Zach's been
that'd be
playing
my
guard
guess.
for 7 years. Like
No, he had a huge Tau phase.
Yeah.
No, I know you guys Tau phase too, but when he first got back in the hobby, like him and I both got back in roughly at the same time, about 7-8 years ago. He was playing guard then. He's been playing guard a long time. He played guard.
I know he has a lot of Guard. He's playing for a long time, but when I first met him, it was at a time that he played Tau. So in my brain, he's a Tau player.
He was flipping those templates long before Tau.
yeah.
I just got to flip this 30 times. Can you keep track of how many hits that is? No.
Yeah, exactly.
No. I'm going shit while you do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Just pull my models off for me.
all right, so that's our 17 players right now. So if you're in the Ottawa region and you want to join the league, sign up. Obviously, if it doesn't go forward, then we will be refunding everybody. It's $20, so it's not a big deal. You can find it if you search for follow. What am I talking about? Go to CanHammer Facebook page. There's a link there to the BCP, or you can just find it on BCP. It's under Ontario 40K League 2021-Ottawa Division. You can sign up through BCP, and come join and play some 40K. And do keep an eye out. There's 2 places where you can get information about the league and what we're doing specifically in the Ottawa Division. One is follow CanHammer on Facebook. I'll be putting all my announcements on there in terms of like stuff. And then also we have a Discord channel, which you can find on there, where we actively discuss things and put announcements there as well. And also you can follow on Facebook the Ontario 40K League Facebook page, where all the major league-wide announcements go, and you can find that on Facebook. And cool. Okay, so I don't think we have any questions for tonight. I'm just going to check the Discord. Okay.
In the meantime, if you're listening to us live, make sure to tune in to Darren and I's live game tomorrow at 1, where my Dark Angels will crush his custodians.
That's right. His Dark Angels tomorrow at 1 p.m. Dayhammer. Dark Angels will literally stand there, do nothing, and score 90 points.
This will be my first game with Dark Angels since 1999.
Before some of you were born.
Indeed.
Yep, we got it all set up. We're ready to go. It's 1 p.m. EST. Sorry to clarify that. For some Dayhammer action, where I will try and run around the edge of the table, staying far away from him, score as many points as I can while he stands there and scores 90 points. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, if there's no questions, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for following, subscribing to all our various outlets and channels and pages. Thank you for subscribing and being patron. If you're a patron, it's very much appreciated. Thank you for watching and listening on iTunes and Podcast Land, and we will see everybody next time. And good night.
Cheers.
Good night.